The key to these problems, this is basically a review from yesterday, is to know if it's a loan or an investment, and then all I can do is have a plus and a minus. That's the only difference. If you're gonna have a $50,000 investment or loan, it would start this way. Always with sub-zero. Isn't that nice? You don't have to decide, should I use sub-1? Nope. Always start these with U sub-0. Always UN minus 1. And then, if it's growth or decay, it doesn't even matter. You put a 1 plus whatever the rate is. Every single time it's a plus. And then the rate, remember it's an annual rate. 0.04 would mean like a 4% rate. But then what's divided by 12 mean?
Monthly.
Monthly. Good. 12 times a year. And then this next key right here, if that says plus, I know it was an investment. And if it's plus, let's say 400, that means you keep adding to your investment. But if it's a minus right there, gentlemen, if you keep talking, you're going to get split up. Okay, so if it's a minus right there, then that's going to mean it was a loan. All right, so I'm going to leave it as a loan. It's a minus, it's a loan, and the payments are $400. What?
Monthly.
A monthly. All right. Now, at the end of this loan, it'll eventually pay off. Like, it'll start at a $50,000 loan. And I'm not saying it's actually at this number, but at like U sub, 200 or wherever it is, it'll eventually get down to a really small number, like you only owe $48 or something like that. But then the next one is the key. It drops to negative, and that means you overpaid them and they owe you money back. All right, would you go arrow down on your table and figure out where that magical moment is for this loan scenario at U sub what? Yep. And there's two numbers. One is right before it's paid off, and then there's after it's paid off and they owe you money back. What is it? U sub what? I know it takes a while to find. Some kids do this with table settings, and they're like, well, I'm going to jump all the way to like the 60th row on my table. Some people just arrow down until they get there. What? It's true, but hitting down arrow forever, it takes forever too. So it's either way, it's not super fast.
When they would have to pay at the point where they would have to pay you back?
Yes.
Okay.
U sub what? And you might be thinking, this is unrealistic. Well, actually, if you borrow money for a house, it takes 360 months to pay it off. 360 is not an unreasonable number of payments. In the real world, that's what happened to me. Except I did pay mine off early. At the end of my whole house loan, I was getting close, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to pay it off. So you call up the company and you say, you got it? U162, can anybody verify that?
Yeah.
Then you guys can just use table settings if you want to get there, and it'll get you there faster. Wait, could you read me what it says on U162? You told me it.
Oh, I cleared it. It was like 12.
Oh, boo, don't clear it.
Negative 12.6.
Negative 12 point, what?
6 to round.
All right, I'd like to know what U161 is then.
386.05.
386.05. Then it's understandable that your next $400 payment paid that off, right? Okay, so this is the key. Pay attention. I can't answer your question right now. It'll throw off the flow. 162 payments were made. 162. The payments were how big?
400.
So you go 162 times 400. Everybody do that and see what that is. You got a calculator. You have to get it out of that weird mode, but you got a calculator. 64,000 what? 800?
Yeah.
Let's go to the penny this time, because I found out that's how we're going to do it on the test.
It's
I thought there's a
just
project.
saying.
Yeah, that test is the project. Project's going to go to the penny. It's actually 0, 0? Okay, oh, that's right. This one's just a whole number times a whole number, so it makes sense. All right. And that was 400 whole payments and 162 payments, and they were $400. So that one makes sense that it doesn't have a decimal. So what is that? It's an important thing. Don't ask a question. What's that?
Total amount of money you paid.
The total amount you paid. Good. Now you guys can ask questions for a second if you want. Yes.
Will those two numbers that you multiply ever not be a whole number? Because you never make
I get what you're saying. At this moment, this is the one time of the whole thing where you're guaranteed to have a whole number. You are correct. But there's almost guaranteed to be decimals on these numbers, which is going to be important in a second. Okay, is there any other questions? Catherine?
Well, kind of a suggestion.
Yep.
For instead of having to do table settings, just go by 100, like do U 100.
Okay, so you're testing without the table. You're go out and do U sub 100 and see if it worked. And then if that didn't work, go U sub 200. And then oh, that's too far.
Yep.
U sub, I get what you're saying.
It's much faster.
I agree. At the end of the day, what matters is that you find this teeny tiny one where they owe you money back. And I like to do the one right in front of it also, because that's just showing you that you are really close to paid off. Technically, you don't need this line. You just need to know that this is the smallest negative amount. Here's the thing. If you don't look at this line, you might think, oh, I got a negative number, so that's my last one. And maybe it wasn't the last one. You got to make sure that you have a positive amount and then it turned negative. Because if you just grab a negative amount, maybe it's like 3 payments later. Okay, so moral of the story, I have paid this much. But wait, I thought I borrowed $50,000. So at that moment, you always subtract the $50,000, and that will tell you, oh wait, I'm wrong. I'm distracted by the guy walking up to the front really slowly. Okay, so this $64,800 was how much we paid, but I gotta adjust it a tiny bit. What am I supposed to do right now? Could you hurry up, please? The whole class is seriously in brain lock mode. Get to the back to your seat quickly. They can't think while there's somebody walking around the room. Okay, so back to this. What am I supposed to do with the 64,800? I said a second ago that it was going to involve decimals. I'm supposed to minus this because they owe me that back. I paid them too much. Minus $12.66. You've got a calculator, use it. What is 64,800 minus $12.66?
64,708.
6478 what?
7.34.
Yep. Can anybody verify that number? I don't want the whole class counting on it. Thank you. It is now verified. That is how much you actually, in the end, paid. After they refunded you this, you really paid this. And then I thought we paid $50,000. This is where you subtract the $50,000 because that was called the principal. And that gives me $14,787.34. Remember I said we're going to the penny on this project. And what's that? That's the interest. That's what you're going to be doing over and over. And I think our assignment is actually too long, so I'm going to cut a bunch out. But it's like that. You're going to be given a scenario. You're going to have this loan. You're going to pay it off. Or it could be an investment. And the investments are easier because there's no little put, you got to pay you back at the end. The investment is just what did it grow to. All right. So on that, let's do an investment one where we start with the $50,000 and let's just do the same exact equation because it'll be easier. But we got to change this to a plus. Do you get me? That means that we're adding $400 a month. So this one will purely rise. We're not going to be looking for when did it get paid off? Because it's going to just keep growing. Then my question is, when did you finally hit 100,000? So you're gonna have to do the same thing. You're gonna have to look way down the chart and figure out when did you finally get to 100 grand. So let's do that. Everybody change this to a plus. Now it's an investment problem. And then somebody's gonna find it quicker than the rest of us, and then everybody will just go there. So, somebody find it. Where does it hit 100 grand? Not close. It has to go over 100 grand. Remember, these are months, so it may seem big to be like, 36, but that's just 3 years. Yes?
U78.
Anybody verify U78? Everybody get there and try it. Can you verify 78 worked?
I can verify.
Thank you. And it was 100,000 and what?
382.
382. So we 0.81. Thank you. And to the penny is like that's what we were doing it. I personally, I've advocated for this before, but I usually lose. That we should just do it to the nearest dollar because that's how people do taxes, and it just simplifies it. But there would be rounding either way, so okay. And the key's already made, so I don't want to remake the key. So there. Do you get it? Took 78 months to make your goal saving number. Cool. You've learned everything that you have to know. That's it.
For the test?
No.
Oh.
Now, just to clarify, the test in this case is the only, as far as I know, project that we have in math for this class. And it is this project, which is going to be, we'll officially introduce it later, but I'll just give you the preview. You're going to be taking out a loan to buy something. So you'll get to go and say, I want to buy a tractor. Or I've had some people say, I want to buy a house. Cool. You want to make an investment. That's what my son did, actually. He didn't do it when he was your age, but when he got old enough that he actually bought an investment house before he bought his real house, which is kind of unusual because he had a really cheap apartment to live in. And then he was like, I'm just going to buy this house as an investment. So anyway, maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you want to have a loan for college. But either way, it's just going to be a real world scenario. And then you're going to do the real world math on it. Figure out how much interest you'd pay. Because that's the really depressing part. Like, look at our last story. We thought we were borrowing 50 grand. We end up paying back 64 grand. Did you know that with credit cards, they can charge you up to 24% interest? Like, banks might be normally charge you like 8% interest on loans. Credit cards can charge you 24% interest. And so, like, the amount of money that you owe back is just, like, scary. I know people who have struggled with credit card debt, and it just kind of starts slow, like, oh, no big deal. I just got a few thousand on my credit card. And then you just add to it a little bit because, like, oh, I want to take a trip here. Or, oh, crap, my car broke down. I got to pay for it. And then the credit card balance grows. Interest grows even more. It's just a nasty cycle. All right, so your homework for today, I believe it's a worksheet. Or is it a Schoology quiz? But I think it's a worksheet. Okay,
It's just
look at the
super
worksheet.
long.
Let's just, I know, we're definitely cutting it down. I don't believe in busy work, but I do believe in practice. Here's 1, A, B, and C. 2, A, B, and C. 3, A, B, and C. All right, this is going to have to be very targeted. I'm going to say you should do 1A, skip 1B, and C. 1B and C. That'll save you a ton of work. All the other problems are like just like asking little questions about one problem, so it kind of doesn't make sense to chop out that kind of stuff. You can skip problem 6, all of it. So 1B, 1C, and number 6.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you're going to have so much time to work, we'll just skip the last one, 9. So 1B, 1C, skip number 6, skip number 9, And that makes it reasonable. And you know, if you want an extra practice problem, just do one of the ones I said you can skip. All right. And that's all I have for you for the video for today.